I'm ready. I'm ready.
Baking it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. The bakers bake and try to win the stove from these grandmas, judging them. Oh, baking it. I forget the word snowflaking it.
Sarah, that was so amazing. That just made me so
Did
happy.
we just infringe copyright? Was that?
I don't think anyone's gonna come after us. I don't. They might not even recognize that as the song.
Yeah, true.
They might be like, "What was that?" Wow, it feels so good to start this episode by being serenaded. Like, I feel so special.
That's the flavor of this show.
It is. It is. That is the flavor. There's so many flavors. I mean, they made a lobster pie. I didn't expect that. I didn't know that lobster was going to come into this.
Yeah.
Listeners, welcome to the Adam and Andy podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
Your other host, Sarah. Sorry, that was a yawn.
That's okay. You're just feeling really cozy.
Really cozy.
You're feeling super cozy. Listeners, today we're going to be rounding out season 2. Sarah, this is the end of season 2 of the show. We have 2 seasons that are under our belts now. Season 2 of the Adam and Andy podcast is ending with Baking It, hosted by Andy Samberg and Maya Rudolph. But before we get into that, Sarah, would you like to hit some Adam and Andy news?
Yeah.
Our last news of the year. Let's see what we've got going on here. Well, actually, I'll ask you, who do you want to start with, Adam or Andy?
Adam,
because we're going to roll right into this. Is all about Andy this episode, right?
Yes.
So let's start with Adam. Well, one thing I can say is that as of this recording, it's actually as of yesterday, The Last Jedi was released 4 years ago. So it was the 4th anniversary.
I saw your post. I was like, no, that's crazy.
Does it feel that long ago? I guess it does, because we lost basically a year and a half of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometime before that, The Last Jedi came out.
Yeah.
I feel like we can really thank Rian Johnson for the devoted thirst that we are all. I mean, I was already thirsty for Adam Driver. Like, I don't want to be like a hipster about this, and be like, I was thirsty for Adam Driver when he was on Girls, but I was. Anyway, but I think that when he really entered our like collective, thirsting space with The Last Jedi, don't you think?
Collective thirsting space.
Our collective thirsting space. I feel like we can thank The Last Jedi for that. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I still remember him from Girls. Like, I think that people who are paying attention like remember him from Girls. Like, that's what started.
But it was
his
still
career.
kind of it was like a popular HBO show, but still kind of an obscure show. Like, it
Yeah,
wasn't
you're right.
like
Star Wars was the thing. It wasn't The Last Jedi. It was the
well, The Force Awakens came first, but The Last Jedi was the thirstiest.
Well, yes, the thirstiest. But I'm saying that The Force Awakens was like, oh, this guy. Okay. This guy. Pay attention to this guy.
And then Rian Johnson, anded that shit. And he was like, pay attention to this guy's well-oiled pecs. Right? Anyway, thank you, Rian Johnson and The Last Jedi, for bringing Adam Driver thirst almost to the mainstream. I think we're now seeing a little bit more, even more mainstream with the, Burberry ad and House of Gucci. House of Gucci is doing very well, by the way. House of Gucci is making a crap ton of money for a drama film. It's actually I think had the biggest opening of a dramatic film in years.
Do you think that's mostly due to Gaga?
I think that it is due to some pretty intense marketing. I've already talked about this on the show, that even my daughter was receiving Facebook ads about House of Gucci.
She's on Facebook?
No, sorry, YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube ads.
What?
No, she's not. Thank God she's not on Facebook. So heavy marketing. I think Gaga, certainly. I think Adam Driver is also a draw. Like, Adam Driver has a huge devoted fan base. And just generally, I think the hype of like going to see a movie that's about like this rich family scandal. I think there's like a cocktail of things that led to the popularity. And I'm not,
Gucci.
yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it's like House of Gucci. Everyone knows what Gucci is, you know. So I think it was a cocktail thing. Certainly, Lady Gaga's popular for sure.
And Jared Leto, of course, his fan
I
base. I'm
swear to
just kidding.
God.
Does he
Yeah,
have any
well,
fans?
I mean, he has a cult. So yeah, like I
Does
guess
he?
he's a yes. Have you never seen pictures?
No, I've never
Okay,
seen.
I'm sorry, but I'm just going to have to take a moment of our time to well his band, what is it?
He has
30
a
seconds.
band?
Yeah, he's Sarah.
I
I
know
mean,
nothing about Jared Leto.
well,
Leto.
you know what?
Leto.
I don't think that there's anything particularly wrong with you not knowing about anything about Jared Leto because like uh, I could probably I could do with knowing less. I think about Jared Leto, like if I knew less about Jared Leto, I feel like that would be a good thing. And I'm pulling up a picture right now of okay, here we go. All right. All right, so here is a picture of Jared Leto and his 30 Seconds to Mars cult. His band has a retreat. Picture's kind of low res there. His
On
band
Mars?
has a retreat and people go to an island and they pay like, I don't know, $20,000 or something, some ridiculous sum of money to be part of this experience where Jared Leto holds court. Let me see if I can find. Oh, here's another good one. Let me grab this one for you. Wait until the very last episode for me to prove my technical deficiencies. Anyway, there's a Jared Leto holding court at one of his gatherings. Anyway,
Barf.
yeah, right, barf. Sorry, I didn't mean to give any airtime to this man. But I don't even think he was that good in House of Gucci. I feel like I made that pretty clear.
Yeah.
That I did not care for his take on that character, and yet he is getting a lot of awards. Sometimes I feel like people get award nominations not for the best acting, but for the most acting.
Most acting.
And I think that's what's happening right now.
Yes.
Anyway, this is
They
not
had to
called.
act the most.
This isn't called the Just Hating Jared Leto podcast.
Just hating Jared. Oh my god.
So let's move on. Okay. House of Gucci. Okay, here I'll say this. Big news. The biggest news I think of the week for us is I already broke the news to you over text, but Adam was snubbed by the Golden Globes for all three of his roles. Didn't get a nom. Didn't get a nom for Last Duel. Didn't get a nom for House of Gucci. Didn't get a nom for Annette. The rats were not happy.
Yeah,
and I'm not happy. I don't know. How do you feel about this?
I'm also not happy. I mean, I'm not like his biggest fan, but I think he deserves.
Sarah, I don't want to break.
I
don't want to break the news to you, but you do a bi-weekly podcast.
Well, I'm a participant.
You've been dragged here against your will. By me.
I haven't been dragged here. I'm just saying that, like, yeah, I'm not like a fangirl, but like I think that he definitely deserves to win an award, let alone like not being nominated. Like,
so you might even say that
his ass off.
He acted his ass off, but not. He didn't do the most acting.
He
not
did
like Jared Leto.
Annette was
that's like Jared Leto.
But Annette was like, I mean, come on.
It was good acting. It was excellent. It was top tier.
And it was
acting.
loud. It was big. It was in your face.
It was different. I feel like I have to wonder if the critics just didn't know what to do with Annette, like, or what to do with Adam's performance of this incredibly dark, complicated character. Like, what did they? I feel like sometimes these award shows reward what is safe and comforting over what is actually challenging art. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really disappointed about that.
Yeah, Annette is not the classical Oscar film. Not that these are the Oscars, but it's not the like, this is a drama about a real thing that we want to portray. Like, it's more fantastical and stuff. And
It's
I don't
weird,
know.
freaky shit, and they just weren't ready for it.
But at least, like, I don't know. Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying the guys that got nominated didn't deserve it. I'm just saying that Adam turned out 3 incredible performances this year, and to have him not be nominated feels like, obviously I'm
Maybe
biased, but it feels like a real shit move, you know?
maybe he'll get an honorable mention
They'll give him an honorable mention ribbon
of
that,
the year. Like,
like,
honorable mention of the
they're
year.
gonna create just a separate award just for
The
Adam.
Adam Award.
The Adam Award. The Adam Driver Award. The Adam Douglas Driver Award for Excellence.
Oh.
And from here on, you have to turn in at least 3, no less than 3.
Mm-hmm.
Diverse, exciting, complicated performances. You have to turn in 3 of them, or
thirsty.
You can't even qualify. And
they have to be thirsty.
Sure.
I don't know if
it was my award.
Okay.
If it was my award,
the Adam Douglas Driver Award for Excellence.
The award for excellence in acting and thirst.
Okay, great.
This
should be a thing.
Yeah. I hope the world is listening. Now, Marion Cotillard was nominated, as was Lady Gaga. So his co-stars were nominated, but he was not. Now, I know a lot of people were really upset about this, especially Marion. But let's not turn our ire on the actresses who also deserved the nomination that they got. I thought Marion was excellent.
But as much.
Well, I don't like to play that game, I think Marion Cotillard did a wonderful job, and I think obviously Lady Gaga, like, carried the film. She did a fantastic her and Adam carried that film, House of Gucci, and she did an excellent job. I don't think anyone's surprised that she got nominated.
Mm-hmm.
Now, every time Jared Leto gets nominated for something, it's like a thorn in my craw, if you know what I'm saying.
Did he get no
Not
nominated?
for a Golden Globe, I don't think. Okay. Listeners, tweet at me at Adam Eddie Pot if I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that he didn't. He has been nominated for other awards for his performance as Paolo. Also, Jodie Comer, no nomination for The Last Duel. And you know what? Twitter's been doing this thing where people have actually taken scenes from The Last Duel. How they played the same scene repeatedly from different points of view, and people have been doing side by sides of like the different points of view, and it really, you look at it and it truly is a masterclass in how these actors really adjusted their micro expressions, and you can really see the subtle differences that Jodie Comer plays in each of these POVs, like her POV of the wedding to Jean versus his POV, or even when they're comparing like Jacques in his POV versus Jacques in Marjorie's POV. It's really, really incredible.
I would know the part that stood out to me the most was when they're being introduced at that party or something.
The kiss.
Like the kiss, like that moment felt the most like blaringly obvious, like this is really good at acting. This is really nuanced.
Nuance. That's the word I was looking for. I don't know. Maybe the Oscars will give us something different. I'm not sure. We'll see. But it was disappointing, to say the least.
Well, the same people are on the Oscar committee. No, I'm just kidding. Wouldn't that be horrible?
They're not, though. I mean, the Oscars do different things. I mean, look,
I know.
Sarah and I don't know that we've talked too much about the Oscars or the Golden Globes on this podcast. We've talked about it a lot on the other show, The Feminine Mistake. Sarah and I used to get together and watch it every year, but then we started to get really frustrated with just kind of the homogenized sort of idea of like overwhelming white men in every category, or even white women dominating some of the acting categories. And I think that stands. Like I'm looking at the Golden Globes, a lot of the acting categories, especially I'm talking about film acting. A lot of the film acting categories dominated by white women. No directors of color that I can see in the directing category. There are 2 women in the directing category. So that's something. It still feels like it doesn't represent the full breadth of excellence, and that So that's what is very frustrating to me, just beyond the whole thing with Adam and not getting a nomination. Sarah and I have been consistently frustrated with who receives recognition and who doesn't at these award shows, and I don't that doesn't look to be changing anytime soon. Anyway,
yeah.
Adam was, however, nominated for Best Actor by the Indiana Film Journal, the Florida Film Critics Circle. Far be it for me to agree with something to do with
From Florida?
but apparently I am in this case. Annette also now he's nominated for Best Actor for Annette. Also, Annette nominated for both Best Picture in both of those places, and House of Gucci was nominated for Best Ensemble by the Vegas Critics Association. So it's not like he's not getting any recognition, but it seems like he's getting shut out from these bigger fish. Anyways, that I think that's all I've got for Adam. So, and I don't want to end it on a down note. I feel like I'm ending it on a down note. Adam did some really incredible work this year, and I'm still holding the candle for him hopefully getting some recognition. He's an incredibly talented actor. I think somebody wrote on Twitter, looking forward to in 5 years when Adam gets an Academy Award for some role that in a movie that's actually kind of shitty, but is like a makeup for all the roles that he should have gotten awards for. And I'm like, why do we have to do it that way?
What
Shit.
Leo D, did he finally get his Oscar?
Didn't he get his Oscar for the eating the raw bear meat? Yeah, it was Revenant, right?
Yeah. Okay.
God, I hope Adam doesn't feel like he needs to torture himself in that way to get an award. And didn't Johnny Depp get nominated for like Pirates of the Caribbean or some shit? Anyways, I feel like listeners tweet at me at Adam Any Pod. Did I dream this, or did Johnny Depp get nominated for Pirates of the Caribbean? Anyways, shall we move on to Andy? Andy news. So Andy, again with the award shows. So Andy unfortunately did not win any People's Choice Awards, despite my repeated attempts to stack the deck
for
with
Palm Springs, or is that too late?
No, it was for Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Palm Springs was last year.
It's all blee.
I know.
Moving together.
It all feels like one big year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, what's it called? Transylformia coming out in soon in January. Transformia?
I don't know.
Something like that. And also, I just discovered in trying to dig up news today, that Andy is part of a group of people who are writing, possibly performing, I guess. I don't know. It was unclear, but definitely writing for an animated series called Diabolical, which is a spinoff of the Amazon Prime show The Boys. So The Boys, that sort of like dark satirical kind of superhero show that's been very popular. I haven't watched it, but I don't know if Carl Urban is in it.
I really don't think I would have seen the name The Boys and had any interest in seeing it.
It seems maybe not your cup of tea, but I've heard it's a very good show. Anyway, there's an animated series, sort of like the way they described it was, did you ever see there was the Matrix series, right? We're all familiar with that. But then there was like an animated show that was like a animated anthology called The Animatrix, where they basically told side stories of the Matrix in this animated sort of it was a series of animated shorts, and it was just kind of like a one-off thing. I don't know if you remember that. I watched The Animatrix because I was obsessed with the Matrix when it came out. So apparently Diabolical is sort of being described like that. It's like a spin-off of The Boys, but it's a short one-off animated show with a bunch of different episodes that are telling side stories. Okay. So Andy is listed as one of the writers, along with Awkwafina, Garth Ennis, Seth Rogen, Alana Glazer, Aisha Tyler, and some other people. And I'm gonna guess that perhaps I'm gonna guess maybe he's performing in it, because it seems like all of these people are also performers. So I think they've each been given a story to take, and they do whatever they want with it. At the moment, he's just listed as a writer, but it's possible he may be doing a voice or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Cool.
So that I just heard about today. Okay, so I think that's it for Adam and Andy news for 2021. I know, right? Next time we do this show, it'll be 2022.
Just call it 22.
Or just call it. You just want me to call it 22?
22.
We're just gonna shorten it. All right. Sarah, are you ready to get into talking about baking it?
Yes, let's get into this pie.
Let's dig right into this pie. Hopefully the crust is flaky and evenly cooked.
Yes.
I don't know. Did you feel like the show was evenly cooked?
No.
You didn't like it.
Oh, I liked it.
Oh,
I just feel it was evenly cooked.
You didn't feel like it was evenly cooked. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I must say that it is that I binged it basically in the last 24 hours. So as I was telling Sarah off air, my brain is all like, it's just all baking it. That's what's inside of me right now, is just baking it. That's it. There's no space for anything else. So, shit, where should we start?
Let it out.
So I think that, I guess you watch a lot of these shows. I don't. In fact, I'll freely admit that I had to multitask while watching it. Like, I had to be doing something else.
Oh, me too.
Okay, so that's the point. The point isn't to fully focus on it, right? Because
no,
I don't watch
I have
a lot
to do
of baking
in the background.
Okay,
like I always have to like be playing with my phone or like.
Oh, so you were double screening, is what you're saying?
Oh, I always double screen. It is a rare show or movie
like
that I
every
will not
time.
Double screen.
Every time, I don't double screen. Well, see, I usually watch stuff on the VR headset. That way, I can't double screen. But this I watched while getting caught up with some things I had to do. I'll just say that.
My brain needs to be very stimulated at all times. And so if a show isn't fully stimulating, like mentally and visually, I zone out and I can't concentrate on it. I need to do more things.
I couldn't focus all my energy on a baking competition. However, I will say that I have seen them before, and as baking competition shows go, I thought this was fun and entertaining. I thought that it was bright and colorful. I've been feeling, to be honest with you and the audience, due to a variety of things, I've been feeling very stressed this week. So it's been really hard for me to relax and enjoy getting closer to the holidays. It's not just about Christmas shopping, although certainly that's part of it, but like, there's other things in my life that are stressing me out. And so it was really hard for me to sit down and focus on the show. But once I had it on, I think it actually did lift my spirits and make me feel like, excited about, I don't know about baking cookies because I am not any good at that, but it definitely made me get excited about eating cookies. And I started to feel the sort of the wholesomeness and the joy of, just having a good time and relaxing and at least trying to do the, anyway, it did lift my spirits and give me a bit of that little holiday cheer that I needed, I think. So I don't know if you have any feelings about that.
I found it, so like, I will compare it to the Great British Baking Show just because that's the one that I love. I didn't like it as much as that because there's something special about the Great British Baking Show that's like, it's wholesome, but it's also like genuine.
Okay.
And there's no fluffy, cutesy like stuff on top.
You didn't like the bits.
This feels very well, there are bits on the Great British Baking Show at the top, but like throughout when they're talking to the contestants and when they're judging, like there's no cutesy, fluffy shit. It's all like down to business. Like we are baking. We love to bake.
Okay.
But everyone's very nice. Everyone's very kind.
See, I liked the bits. Well, first of all, all right. So Maya and Andy, we'll get to them and their hosting in a second. But because I do want to address this, some of my favorite things were just the random absurd bits that Andy and Maya did.
I liked their bits.
Yeah.
I didn't like them talking to people and not being fully genuinely engaged. That there was joke. It was there was always a joke. There was always like a punchline. There was always and the people themselves were, I don't know, there was just some kind of disconnect.
You didn't connect with the people. I liked the people a lot. I actually was thinking to myself when I got to the end, like, it's really weird when I watch these shows because I don't watch a lot of baking shows, but I did go through a really big Project Runway phase where I was like obsessed with Project Runway. And I feel like it's always weird to get really attached to the people that you're watching the show about, and then it's over. And then you're like, oh, that's it. Now they're out of my
Yeah.
lives. And because I watched this basically back to back, I was like, "Oh, wow, it's over now." Like, I feel like I got to know these people. I get what you mean that there was definitely like sort of there were these constructed moments where they're like giving them like their kids sent in a greeting, or they gave them, a letter from their mom or something. And I see what you mean about those kind of constructed heartfelt moments. But that's what these shows are like, and it worked for me. Like, I thought it worked with the theme of Christmas, and I thought or holidays, I guess I should say, because it's not
Yeah.
just about Christmas. They talked about Kwanzaa. They did a little thing
Yeah.
about Hanukkah, which I also thought was nice. They incorporated at least mentioning
Mhm.
some other holidays other than
Yeah.
Christmas. And I don't know, it worked for me. I thought it was sweet. I thought the people were likable. There wasn't anybody on the show that annoyed me. Like, I all thought they were sweet, but also like each group had personality. I didn't have trouble
Mhm.
telling them apart, although I can't remember some of the earlier get people, but at
Yeah.
least the last 6 groups, I think I can say were pretty well defined in my mind. But that's fair. You like a more serious approach to a baking show, and that
Well,
is
the Great
okay.
British Baking Show is not serious. Like, it's hard to describe. Like, I really think you should watch the Great British
Okay.
Baking Show because it is excellent. It
Okay.
is. I mean, you've heard it from all sides. Like,
Yes.
people love that
All
show, and it's
sides.
because it is both wholesome and genuine and real.
So it's a
And
little cheesy for you, maybe, this
this
show.
is a little cheesy, and you
Okay.
know me, I'm cheesy, I'm
I liked the
sappy,
cheese.
I'm corny.
I liked the
Can I
corny. I
tell
think
you
I needed it.
my favorite part
Yeah.
was definitely Andy and his you could just tell he was a little cynical, a little
Mhm.
sarcastic, a
Mhm.
little bit like, "I'm here for a paycheck." Even though
You
I know
think
that was a
that?
joke, but he was
Oh,
definitely, like, being a little sassy and a little like, "This show is weird," and, like,
I
you
liked
know.
the very weird bits. Like, every time there was something really strange that you wouldn't expect in one
Yeah.
of these shows, like
The songs,
the
I love the
song.
songs.
Okay, I think, yeah, this was not an Andy moment, but I think my favorite
The
thing
Maya song,
was Maya singing about
the
pie.
the pie is
The
my
pie
guy.
music video was like, that was beyond. That was
Pie
above
is
and
my
beyond.
guy. Oh my
That
gosh.
was like, I was like enraptured by that.
Like, I would listen to that on Spotify. Like,
Oh,
that would be playing in
absolutely.
my car when I'm
That's
on
my
my way to a
jam.
show. Like,
Pie
yes.
is my guy. So let's talk
I
about
liked the rat song that
the are you talking about the
Andy
reindeer,
did.
the a
The
reindeer that
reindeer
that
that
was
that ate rats.
I'd seen that before the show started, and both times
Oh.
I found it upsetting and disturbing. Like,
That's why I liked
I
it.
know, and I liked what I appreciated about it. What it was that it was weird and it didn't belong in a holiday show. That's what
Yes.
I truly loved about it.
Yes.
But I also just felt like a little sad and disturbed by it.
Aw.
But
Well, I
it's
loved that
just
it was
me.
Andy. It was, like, written by Andy. You know it was written
Yes,
by
Andy
Andy.
absolutely
And,
wrote
like,
that.
the Lonely Island or maybe
That's his Lonely
Akiva
Island
and
no, I think that's
no,
Andy's
that was all
Lonely
him?
Island
Okay.
coming out, I think.
I was like,
Definitely
"Yes,
felt on
turn to
brand for
sea
him.
foam."
It was weird and
So
bizarre,
silly.
and I did love that about it, but I was also like, I'm feeling a little upset.
Yeah.
But okay, so we're kind of already talking about it, but Andy and Maya as hosts. Can we
Yes.
let's spend some time talking. How did you feel about them as hosts?
I enjoyed them. I thought they were the best part.
Yeah, I agree. Best part for sure.
I, think that their bits were great. I
Mhm.
think that when they talked to people, it was awkward, and
Oh,
actually
you think it was weird? I thought Maya did a great that my it was like your weird aunt and uncle. I felt like every time they had to go talk to a person, it was like
Mhm.
Maya was like funny but also like genuine and asked good questions and was like asking like what are you doing, and they're like, "Oh, I'm
Mhm.
really struggling." And she's like, "Oh, what are you struggling with?" Like Maya was like really good at like talking to them, and Andy was just over there making dad jokes.
So
Andy
they're actually
was out of control with the dad jokes.
Dad
like
jokes, so many dad
so
jokes.
many dad jokes. It was crazy. And he knew they were bad too. You could see the look on his face where he's like,
He was like, sorry.
I'm about to drop a doozy, but he's like, sorry, not sorry about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying.
So there's an interview that I'll read later for the trivia, but the part that I probably won't get to is that they both found talking to people very awkward and uncomfortable. They both were like it was a struggle for both of them to be sincere and genuine with people, because it was like they were both like, we want to make jokes and crack up and like make it fun and light, and people were like, no, you have to talk to them about their father, or like you have to talk to them about
that was
their
intense.
kids, you know.
Where the guy's like, or what's his what was his name? I wrote it down because there's one part where I just started crying. Oh, Jonah. When Jonah was talking about his brother and the like, he had built the gingerbread house with the ramp because his brother had died of like, you know, and I was like, fuck. Like, I just started crying. I was like, this is too much emotion for a baking show. But I mean, I didn't feel like it was. I didn't feel like it was. How do I explain this? It wasn't exploitive. I didn't feel like it was exploitive. I feel like they were trying to show, I think what they were trying to show was that for the folks on the show, that baking is meaningful to them, and that around the holidays we should be thinking about the people in our lives that have been, that are still with us, that aren't with us. And I think that was kind of the point. But I was like, wow, like that's really intense. And I can only imagine it was intense for the contestants, I feel like. And I feel like I can only imagine that for Andy and Maya, who are like I'm a comedian. I don't know that you're very funny. I don't know if you consider yourself a comedian. You should, because we do a lot of comedy. Do you consider yourself a comedian, Sarah?
I'm a comedian at heart.
Okay. But you're also a comedian in practice. You know that, right?
Okay, sure.
So I feel like my instinct, and I totally understand how Maya and Andy would feel this way. My instinct is to make light of things, especially when I'm uncomfortable. Like, I want to make jokes, and like I can't help myself, especially if I'm faced with something that's really uncomfortable. My instinct is to make jokes, and because that relieves the tension for me. And I get how that is like tough, where you're like, because the best things to me between Maya and Andy were like when they were together doing bits, and you could really see their friendship. Like they genuinely felt like besties to me. They seemed like they really liked being around each other. And I also could really see their skill as improvisers, how like Andy would riff on something and then Maya would pick it up and they would bounce it back and forth. And it was always really funny, and nobody ever they were always game to go with the joke together no matter where it went. And I just think that they're really skilled at that, and they're very funny and charming. And you're right. I think that's where they shone the most, was it when they're in the show, like making jokes at the top, or talking to the grandmas, or
doing
like
the songs,
or doing the little bits, the interludes where they're doing songs or jokes. That was like, but I just loved them together. I could have just watched a whole show about them. Just fucking talking to each other. I just really liked them so much. You know? They should be on a show together. I mean, I know they just were. Like, I literally just watched it, but they should be on like a show together. Like, they should have
a fictional show.
Oh my god, Sarah!
A variety show.
They should have a variety show. They should have a variety show. God, I would die. I would fucking die. I would love it. Can you imagine a variety show with Andy and Maya, and they have special guests come in?
And Nick.
Well, they would just have special guests come in and do bits and shows, and like. I hope Hollywood is listening, because what I want most.
We need more variety shows.
We need more. What I want most is Andy and Maya doing a variety show. That's what I want. Give it to me. I deserve it. Have I earned it? I think so. Anyway, I've been on a tangent. You go. You were talking about, I don't know what, but I'm just gonna. You jump in.
Let's jump into the next thing, which is the grandmas.
The grandmas. How did you feel about the grandmas?
I thought it was a great premise, but the execution was not to my liking.
Okay.
Like, I think having grandma's judge is one of those, like, sounds great, and, like, it's like, "Oh, that's hilarious. That's a hilarious concept." But they were not they didn't, like part of critique is you have to tell people the good and the bad. And they basically anytime there was any critique or criticism, they always apologized or, like, followed it with,
Because
like,
they're
but
grandmas, Sarah. Because they're
just
grandmas.
I know, but I didn't like it. I'm like,
You
tell me,
wanted them
like
to stick with the they were not just grandmas, though. I thought they were just gonna be somebody's grandmas, but they were, like,
they're
legitimate
bakers.
bakers. Like,
Yeah.
they owned bake shops, they had competitions, like, one of the grandmas, Grandma Gigi, had, like, 30, like, blue ribbons for pies, like, they were legit.
Yeah, no, it was just, I wanted more, tough criticism, like, not mean, but just, like
So you
re
wanted one of these grannies to throw a pie in someone's face is what you're saying.
not throw a pie, just, like
I'm joking.
'cause, like, the thing about the Great British Baking Show is there's a nice judge, and then there's,
Yeah.
like, a mean judge,
So
which
you
is
needed a
Paul
mean
Hollywood.
grandma. You
I
needed a
needed a
mean
mean
grandma.
'cause you need to have, like, one judge who's very nice and complimentary about everything, and then you need a judge who's, like, gonna tell it like it is,
You need a
and you
Simon
want
Cowell.
to and, like yes, and you want to please them, like, everyone who watches, everyone who's on the show, you just wanna please them, and there was no grandma here that you just wanted to please because you couldn't get that from her, like, they all just pleased you, you
So
know
everybody on the Great British Baking Show has daddy issues, is what you're telling me.
Yes, including me, and everyone who
Why? What do you mean
watches.
why do you have
Everyone
daddy
who
issues?
because
Your
I
dad is
want to
so
please
nice.
I know he's so nice,
Your
but
dad is the
I
nicest
want
person.
I know, but I want to please people who don't like me.
Okay, that's fair.
That's the issue.
I get angry when people don't like me. I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah.
But I get real mad. So if I was on a baking show and one of the judges was like, "Your cake tastes like sandpaper," I would be like, "Why don't you go fuck yourself?" And then I would storm off. You know, I'm gonna disagree. Again, I don't watch a lot of baking shows. And I think, and again, I can only compare this to Project Runway because that's a show that I watch the most. And on Project Runway, I feel like the judges they're a mixture of good. Like they have critique, but they're also very supportive. You know, like Tim Gunn is like he'll say what's wrong with it, but in a way that's like gentle. You know, so I loved the grandmas. I was in love with them. I felt like they were heartwarming. I loved them in their little circle with their blankets on their laps. Like I alternately aspired to be them. Like I was like, that's what I want to be when I'm an old lady. But also, which is not that far from now. Like I'm really close, Sarah.
No, you're not.
In
you're
a couple
42.
of years,
Not
I just turned 42, you guys. In this time next year, I'm going to be eligible to be a grandma on Baking It. I'm just letting you know.
No.
I am so old.
It'll be 30 years from now, Nicole.
I want to be like them, but also I wanted them to hug me. Like I wanted to be held by the grandmas.
I'm just kidding.
Oh God,
I do.
No, you're right. No, you're right. I absolutely do. So this was not fulfilling your daddy issues, but it was fulfilling my mommy issues. Is what I'm saying. Also, I grew up with my grandma. My grandmother lived in my house until I was in my early 20s. She passed away when I was about 20 years ago. And so I have like a soft spot for, like, I'm getting a little emotional just talking about it. Like I have a soft spot for grandmas. I miss my grandma. And I just really, wow, I am like super getting emotional about this.
It's okay. This is an emotional show.
I just super loved them. And I actually liked that they apologized every time they gave a critique. They were like, this is too spicy. I'm sorry, but it tastes great, but it's a little too spicy. The cream was great.
That's just not my taste.
But that's just me. And like,
yeah.
I loved their softball approach to critique. And I think that their judging was fair. Like when they were like sending people home, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, I loved the grandmas. I thought it was a great idea, and I think one of the things that prevents me from watching these competition shows is that I don't like to see people's dreams crushed. And I feel like there's a
Mhm.
lot of shows where they're like, we're going to have tough love and we're going to tell you like it is. And it's like, I don't want to watch people who like deeply love something be humiliated on
Yeah.
television. I just don't want it.
Yeah.
And so I like a softer approach where they're
Mhm.
like, somebody's got to go home and we don't want to do it, but that's just the way that it is. But good on you for trying so hard, even though your gingerbread house looks fucked up. Like, like that was, I liked that. I liked that part.
Yeah, there was something else is that the bakes were not great. Like,
I
there were
mean,
some that were great, but
I
there were
couldn't
some
do
that
it.
were janky.
I couldn't do it. Sarah, that gingerbread competition made me feel so stressed. Like, I was, like, so stressed out by it. I hate making gingerbread houses. Every year, my kids wanna do it, and it's just, like, a fucking nightmare. Like,
They
they
make
eat all the
kits now.
I know, but that shit never sticks together, and it's always crooked, and then where do you put it when you're done with it? The dog's gonna
In
eat
your
it.
face.
And the kids try to eat all the candy, and it's like, it's
So, my dad used to have us make this was in the days before kids. He would have
Mhm.
us make them from scratch.
Oof. So you've
Like,
done this
bake the
before.
gingerbread.
You've
Well,
baked
when I was, like, a
Yeah.
kid, and my dad did most of it, so,
Mm.
you know. I've never actually attempted it as a person who knows how to bake.
Well, maybe you should.
Maybe I should.
So, all right. We should talk maybe okay, I'm trying to figure out where to go next. Um, were there any contestants or bakes that did stand out to you where you were like, "Wow, I was really rooting for this person," or this particular thing they made was
I should
really
have written
stellar?
their names down, the Indian
Oh, I wrote them
couple.
down. I wrote their
Okay,
names
great.
down. Nayati and Abi, I think.
I love them.
Oh my god,
Like,
I was in love with
their
them.
food
So in love with them.
looked and sounded amazing.
I
Like, they
wanted to
found
eat it.
fusions of different types of things and, like,
I wanted it in my mouth.
Indian food is my favorite,
I know, I do know
but they,
that.
like, put a twist on it, and it
Mhm.
always looked really good too.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I wanted them to win.
I did too.
And when
I
they
really
didn't, I was a
was
little sad.
I was super disappointed they didn't make it to the top
Yeah.
3. Like, I knew the sisters
They
were like,
didn't
"Oh,
I thought
no,
they were
they
in the
did
top
make it to
3.
the no,
They
they
just
made it to
didn't
the top 3.
win.
They didn't win. You're right, you're right, you're right." Um, I knew they were in trouble when the grannies were like, I don't remember what it was. Was it their ornament maybe? Something that they were eating was
Yeah.
like they were like, "Oh, it's too crumbly." And I was like,
Yeah.
"No!"
I know, I know.
I was like, "No, they have like
Yeah.
40 badges. They
I
get a
know.
brooch every time they win something."
Yeah.
Their apron was just weighed down with
They
brooches.
won more than the rest of them. They should have won the whole thing.
It was
Like,
like Adam Driver and the fucking Golden Globes all over again.
basically, yeah.
Well, we could talk about maybe the top 4. Yes, I loved them. I didn't remember. I don't read. So there was the sisters.
The sisters, they were cute.
They were cute. I felt like they reminded me. They were like the Monicas. They were like the
Yes.
perfectionist,
The
but
perfect
not in.
girls.
They were perfect girls, but not in an annoying way. They were very sweet and cute, and I.
You're just jealous, not you, but, like, one who watches them would be jealous of them because they're so perfect.
Oh yes, but they were also sweet and cute, and
Mhm. And that's why you're jealous of them even more,
I'm a
because they're sweet and
monster.
cute.
I'm a
You're
monster.
not a monster. I
Yes,
feel the
I
same
am.
way.
Sarah, if we did a baking competition, you would be working your ass off and I would be breaking stuff. Like, can you imagine? Like, you and me are having to bake something and you're like, hand me that. And it's the name of some kitchen implement. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And then you're like, okay, fine. You're like, just trying to give me something to do to keep me from fucking up. Like, you're like, can you go sift this flour? And then I like dump the flour in and it goes everywhere. I would just be making such a mess. Like, I would not be cute or sweet or perfect and everything. And I would just be in your way, to be honest.
I baked biscotti last night,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
How'd it turn out?
I think they turned out good. I don't like biscotti. It was for a
Mhm.
friend,
Oh,
who
okay.
does like biscotti. Sam
Mhm.
likes biscotti as well, but for me, it's too dry and crunchy, and I
You
don't
and
like
Sam should
crunchy.
be in a baking competition show.
Oh my
I
gosh.
feel like Sam would be like a deer in the headlights. They'd come over to talk to him and he'd be like, "Please don't talk to me." Just he'd be in the back
But he
trying to
knows how
busy
to
himself with baking something.
he does know how to follow directions though,
Yeah.
so he can he
He'd
can
be a much
he can
better
bake.
sous chef for you than I would. I would be like not on purpose. I would be
Yeah.
trying my hardest, but I would be
Aw.
actively in your way.
I wanna, like, write this. I wanna, like, write, like, I mean, not that we would have to perform
Yeah.
it, but just the idea of, like, your character and my character, like,
Mhm.
being in a baking competition together and having to, like, work together and bake. I
I
don't know,
feel
that
like you'd
sounds
be so
interesting.
patient with me though.
Mhm.
Like I would mess everything up and you'd be like, "It's okay." And we'd be kicked out like the first day. They'd be like, "Sarah, you're great, but your friend is terrible."
Aw.
Yeah, so there was the sisters, which again, I feel like we sounded really negative about them. I thought they were very sweet, but
Yeah.
I think
Talented too.
and very talented, but for some reason I wasn't rooting for them.
Yeah,
Even though they kept
no.
turning in gorgeous stuff,
I
I was like,
know.
"You are too perfect, and
Yeah.
I need something."
Yeah.
And then there was the okay,
The father and son?
did you find their relationship a little strange?
Well, just because they were very affectionate with each other.
No, the
Usually
affection
don't
was
see
beautiful.
the Oh, okay.
I just
What
mean
was
that the way
strange?
he calls his dad, like he's like, "Tom." I don't know, there was something very casual about them where, they seemed like bros, but I guess that's just their relationship.
Yeah. I
He's like, "He doesn't call me dad."
Yeah, no. Well, I know someone who everyone in their family, even the young
Mhm.
kids, call everyone by their first name. Like
It's
their
weird.
parents, their grandparents, they call their grandparents by their first names.
No, no. I've earned that title of respect. I want when you're screaming
Nana
at me,
Kemper.
when you're ooh, oh god. I'm not
I'm
ready for
sorry.
that.
Is that
I'm not ready.
is
I'm
that
not
what you called
ready.
your grandma? I'm so sorry.
No, my grandma's name wasn't Kemper, that's my husband's name.
No, I just mean the word Nana.
Nana, yes, my dad's mother I call Nana, and then my mother's mother I call Nana's still around. My
Okay.
mother's mother I just called grandma.
Grandma. That's what I call
Yeah.
my grandma.
Um, so there were the sisters, there was the son. This father and son, they made a lot of savory food, which was
Mhm.
surprising to me. They were
Yeah.
making pot pies. I thought their lobster pie looked really good. Uh, and the story behind it was really cute, but I was like, lobster? Like, where did they get lobster? Like, where'd you get access to lobster? Is that just laying around the baking it studio? Like, how does
Yeah.
that work? I thought that the father and son made consistently good food, it looked like. I mean, I didn't taste any of it.
Mhm.
Personally, I felt like they kept their choices kind of safe though.
Mhm.
Like the couple, the married couple that we were just talking about, Nayati and Abi, they took risks. Like I understand
Mhm.
they were trying to infuse
They
like
pushed it.
different flavors, but they did something that was unique and interesting and like I felt like like the other guys like they were probably making shit that was delicious, but like it felt a little
It
safe.
was yeah.
Yeah.
No, totally. I just like the couple, like,
Mhm.
I love their story. I love how they referred to their relationship, like, when they got
Mhm.
married and,
Mhm.
like, they just seemed like such a good couple, and they also really worked well together, and they
Mhm.
just made food that I want to eat. I was, like, really upset that I didn't get to taste
I know.
the things that they were
I know.
making.
I loved Jonah and his husband. I can't remember his husband's name. I'm so sorry, but I was just like Jonah, Jonah, Jonah. I was really rooting for them. I wanted them to get a pin so bad. Like cuz
Mhm.
they kept like getting really close like where they were like,
Mhm.
"Wow, we really fucked up." Like they kept fucking up but then somehow
Yeah.
staying in and I was like,
Yeah.
"Yes! I love an underdog. Give me an underdog
Were they in
story."
the
Like
top 4?
they were in the top 4. So they
Okay.
almost made it to the top 3, but they just didn't.
Yeah.
Although their little pig pie looked so cute, with the little pig on top of it.
Yeah.
Also, I thought that they had, like they seemed to, like, they put a lot of meaning into okay, here's the thing I wanna talk about next. The thing that I love and hate the most about these shows is when every challenge is like they're like, "We want you to make a cake, but we wanna make you to we want you to make a cake about, like, your anxieties. Tell us your worst anxieties in a cake. You know what I mean? Like everything is like we want you to think about your most traumatic childhood memory and turn it into a 3-layer cake. Like that the
Yeah.
abstraction of that,
Yeah.
like I can't I'm a writer and I can't even get my head around it. Like what about you, Sarah? Like I feel like I would just like have trouble being like, I don't know what flavor my nightmares are. I just don't know. Is it red velvet? Is it carrot cake?
Like,
What
I
are my
love that. I would
nightmares?
love that.
I
I
know
would
you
love a
would.
prompt like that. Like, that'd be like, yes, like, get me to think about my emotions in a different way. Because like, always, like, when you think about your emotions in a different
Mhm.
way, it helps you understand them
Mhm.
and, like, process them and stuff.
Mhm.
My old therapist used to have me do that, like, kind of,
Mhm.
like, express my emotions, like, with a visual,
Mhm.
um, I I idea,
Mhm.
visual image,
Mhm.
and so that's just taking that to a different level where it's like a food, it's like something you taste, something
Mhm.
you see, I would
So,
like that.
if you had to bake your nightmares, like if
Mm.
you had to put your nightmares into a cake, what would your nightmares taste like?
Well, definitely dark chocolate because I don't like dark
Oh, I
chocolate.
love dark chocolate.
Um, maybe licorice?
Oh god, yes. Oh god.
Ah,
I feel like if I had to make it would be a funnel cake.
a
Hear me
funnel
out.
cake.
Because funnel cakes like are kind of scary, like
Mhm,
you don't know what they're really made of when you get them,
mhm. Yeah, or
Uh
how they're made.
like when you're done eating it, it's like sitting in this pile of oil where and you just feel kind of disgusting.
Yeah,
And also, every time I eat a funnel cake, it tastes good while I'm eating it, but then
mhm.
afterwards, I feel like I'm going to die.
Yeah,
So I feel like a funnel cake would
basically.
be the dessert of that it
That's great. A
encompasses
funnel
my
cake
nightmares.
topped with licorice cream.
Gross. Fucking gross. um okay. Jeez. Uh what do you have any is there something we didn't cover? I feel like we haven't talked a lot enough about Andy really. Do you have any like of your favorite jokes or bits that we talked about the song? I
I
liked
mean,
the
I
song
love
at the beginning.
yeah, the song at the beginning really surprised me. Like I was like, "Oh, there's singing on this show." Like, okay. Um
I liked I know that it was really hokey, but I really enjoyed the Master Baker's joke. I was like, "Yes,
Oh
give
yeah.
me keep it
Yep.
going. Keep that
Yep.
push it further with the Master
What's
Bakers."
so funny is on making it, the
Mhm.
real like the real prize at the end
Mhm.
is master maker. So on making it, it really is master
Oh my
maker.
god! Oh my god! So he was man, there were so many layers to that joke. Now I
Mhm.
appreciate it so much more. I just want to emphasize again how much I love Andy and Maya's friendship. Like it felt really genuine to me and they felt like besties and the way they made each other laugh just like brought me a lot of joy.
Mhm.
Let me see. I'm trying to see what some of my other favorite bits. Oh my god, I just looked at my notes about the rose cake. Do you remember the cake that Niyati and Abi made that was like a pink rose
Oh, oh
and
my
they had to
god, that
crack
was
it open?
amazing.
I mean, that
That
should have
was amazing.
that alone should have won the competition. I'm
They should have
sorry.
stopped the competition
They'd
there.
be like,
I'm
"We're
like,
done.
"That's it."
We're done." Let's see. I think my favorite okay, what was your favorite challenge? Here's a good one. What was your favorite challenge? Because I know what mine was.
I didn't write down my
All
favorite
right, well, let me
challenge.
say mine and maybe it'll come to
Okay.
you. My favorite challenge was the white elephant because that felt like really easy for me to get my head around conceptually. And also, like, I guess I do like, I like it when they throw in something like, okay, here's an ingredient that isn't like you didn't choose it and you don't know what it's going to be and you got to make it work somehow. So that was the one where they went and got the presents under the tree and they like had to open it and it's like, oh, it's a can of cinnamon rolls or it's like chocolate pudding. I know we were saying like the sisters were like too perfect and whatnot, and I feel really catty for even saying that. I was very impressed with their little chocolate cup with the chocolate. They made the chocolate pudding ice cream. Like I was very impressed with that and the little like I do you remember that part? They got chocolate pudding in the white elephant gift, the sisters, and they made like a little cup and they made ice cream with the chocolate pudding and then they had hot fudge over the top and I was like
Mhm.
that looks so good. So I was really impressed with that. But I would say the white elephant was my favorite. of the challenges, I think.
I guess my favorite would be the cake that
Mhm.
had, like,
The
elements of this person and elements of that person inside, or
Oh,
like,
right,
one
so
person
that
and
was one
then
of the
one
early
person
challenges. It
inside.
was like outside has to represent one of you and inside has to represent the
Yeah.
other.
I mean, that was I was might have been the first
Mhm.
episode, but I really liked that,
I
and
think it may have been the
that,
first episode, yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that
that
was
was just, like, a nice
cool.
intro into the style of the show, and,
Yeah, that rose cake, oh my god,
yeah,
was pretty great.
yeah.
Um, let's see. I'm trying to look if there are any other oh my here's a bit that stuck out to me. Oh no, here's the thing that stuck out to me. I completely forgot about this couple, but there was a couple from Georgia. Remember, they were like husband and wife,
Yes.
and at one point they were making some kind of food, and Andy was talking to them about the
I think I
South,
remember
and
this.
and
But
they said
Texas is
something
not the
about
South.
she's like, "Texas is not the South." And I was like, "Amen, sister. Texas is not the South. We do not claim Texas as part of our we don't claim Texas as part of our group. Texas is its own thing." Anyway, I just really like that. That made me laugh. Let's see. I wrote down the food looks so good I'm frothing. That's the problem with these shows, like they make me so hungry. I was like
Yeah.
frothing at
I'm
the
gonna
mouth.
eat something after this.
Let's see. I know, right? Oh, I just again, I'm sorry, but Andy's dad jokes. I wrote down some of my favorites. He this I think these were both in the same episode. They were giving out the brooches for that episode, like the brooches that people were winning, and Andy told someone, "You're really approachable." He also said that he got from the vac. Do you remember the part where he's like, "I got when I got the vaccine, I got Santa bodies,"
Mhm.
and then he did like a
Mhm.
lap around the studio a couple
And he was like,
times.
"I'm so sorry."
That made me laugh
Yes.
so hard. I just loved it.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's pretty much all I've got here. I don't think I have much more other than my moments of thirst. Do you have any final thoughts? Oh, we didn't really talk about the pies, but of all the things that could have been eaten, I think the pies. Like I wanted to eat the pies the most. Like I'm with Maya. Give me a pie.
I'll eat a pie if it's there, but I don't seek pies out. I don't
Oh
know.
god. I am like if I am thirsty for pies, like in a food way. Like I like look at them and like my mouth just starts like I just said the word pie and I started salivating like uncontrollably.
That's for me with, like, cake. I love any type of cake.
God, I like the pies. Like I could practically taste the flaky crust. I was really really into that. Oh, here was another thing that somebody called I don't know if it was Andy or Maya that called somebody's pie hot and cobblered.
Oh,
Oh, God.
that might have been a
Oh my god. By the way, did you take note of how much money the sisters won?
50,000?
50 motherfucking $1,000. Maybe we should enter a baking competition.
We wouldn't get very far.
You don't think so?
If Sam can't get on a baking show, what hope do we have? I'm not saying she
Oh,
is
she
not
didn't
going
get it?
to. No, I don't know. I have
Oh,
no
okay.
idea.
Okay. Oh, Sarah, I want that $50,000. But yeah, I couldn't have made the stuff that they made.
Yeah.
Maybe there's what show what competition show would we be
A
good on?
filmmaking show.
You
I
think?
don't know.
Seems kind of meta. A podcasting show. I'm just kidding.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. Any final thoughts on baking it? Would you recommend it this holiday season to a friend?
Yes, it's very fun, it's very
Mhm.
light and fluffy,
Mhm.
and if you are looking to not think and just be, like, warm and cuddly and cozy, then definitely watch this show if you want, just fun, lighthearted
Mhm.
laughs and, I don't know, like, I could just keep going, I keep saying the same things, but, like
Glow, cozy, laughs, warm, all the
it's
buzzwords.
delightful.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this time of year, a couple things, and I already touched on this a bit. This time of year can be really stressful, and um, I think that it's a good show to watch if you're looking for something to like kind of like you said, like make you feel a little cozy, give you a little entertainment. It definitely like lifted my spirits. I'm glad that this was what we were watching at the end of the season for us
Yeah,
because I
totally.
think I needed a little injection of light fun.
Yeah.
It was light and funny and made me feel good, and also you just need stuff to do in the background while you're like wrapping gifts
Mhm.
and shit.
Exactly.
And this is the perfect. So if you haven't seen Baking It yet and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to watch it, but I have a big pile of gifts to wrap, this would literally be the perfect thing to watch while you
The
wrap gifts.
perfect thing.
Perfect. And you get Andy and Maya being super fun. They are so talented. Like they're such good
Mhm.
comedians. They're so funny. They're great improvisers. I enjoyed the hell out of them. It's a really fun show. I would definitely recommend it. All right, are you ready to get thirsty?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get thirsty.
Okay, the nerves that Andy had when he was talking to people,
So you like a
the
nervous boy.
awkward dad jokes.
You like a
Um,
nervous boy.
yes,
Yes.
yes. The songs, especially the one about the reindeer who eats rats.
The reindeer that eats rats song made you thirsty.
Because it was so weird and funny.
Yeah.
Like, it was like the writing of the song was
Yeah.
like, "This is weird and I like it."
Nice.
Sweaters, especially that
Oh
red one with the
my
collar, like, with the folded
God.
over collar and the buttons,
He
like
looked so soft. He was like a teddy
he
bear.
looked
I wanted to
so
squeeze
dad.
him. Oh
Like,
my
he looked
God.
like such a dad.
Dilf. Dilf. Total Dilf. Total
Um,
Dilf. And you can hear my dog barking, and I apologize, but my son just came home, so there's like a lot of
and the
barking going on.
sassiness, the kind of like
Mhm.
he had the only cynical bite to the show. That was some kind of like,
He was a little nudge, nudge,
this is
winky.
silly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that was
Totally.
also yeah.
Love it. Sarah, top of my list, by the way, top of my list, Andy's cozy
Sweaters.
sweaters. Like
I knew you would have that on your list.
not just the cozy sweaters, but also he looks so good in blue. Like that
Oh.
light blue sweater and also like the dark navy kind of sweater. Like he looked so good in the colors that they put him in. It
I
really
like the red the best for me.
that was my least favorite. I mean, it was cute, but that was my
Really?
least favorite sweater. I actually loved him in blue. Like I just thought he was really striking in blue, and all of his sweaters looked warm and cozy. And the bathrobe, like I just wanted to snuggle him. He just looks so cozy. um, Sexual baking innuendo. I'm here for it. I think at one point, there was one when they were doing the naughty or nice competition, and he kept
Mhm.
saying naughty over and over again. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Um, just the dad jokes. I wrote it in all caps. Like the dad jokes were so endearing, and
Yeah.
apparently, dad jokes are very sexy to me. I don't know. I would just every time he did a dad joke, it fucking it charmed the pants off of me,
Yeah.
honestly. And he was like really laying it on thick
Yeah.
with the dad jokes.
Yeah.
I think we didn't talk about this in the main part of the discussion, but I think even though I'm sad that it was awkward for them to talk to people about serious stuff, that's unfortunate. But what I liked about the show is that, and I know that it's not the real them, like they're still on a television and they're putting on some kind of performance, but it was just kind of nice to see Andy and Maya just like being themselves a bit and like just what I imagine their natural jokey selves are, like at least a little closer to natural than like he's not playing a character, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
kind of really enjoyed that. And the dad jokes were a big part of that. I imagine he's like a total doofus at home, just like constant dad jokes, and I thought that was really charming. Um, Andy's laugh and just like the
Yes.
general like the joy and the goofiness, like him
Yeah.
enjoying himself made me enjoy him.
Yeah, like his face when he laughs, that kind of
Yes,
like face, like I love it.
he just like really laughs with his whole face and it smiles with his
Yes.
whole face, and I just really love it. And those are my moments of thirst. I actually found baking it to be surprisingly thirsty. Like it made me hungry for food and other things, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As you would imagine, I'm normally up for pretty much anything in the bedroom, but I can't tell if what happened was weird or sexy.
Are you ready for trivia?
Yes. So I'm gonna read you some of this interview, just some quotes.
Okay.
Let's see. So this is not Amy, I'm so sorry. Maya and Andy. Maya says, Andy brings out my pure goof, no snort laugh. Just a very base level eternal joy. He's my genuine friend, and just like any genuine friend, when you're together, you just pick up where you left off, and it's usually in Goof Town. And he says, we live in Goof Town.
Oh my God.
Maya makes me laugh from the tip of my schnoz to the bottom of my pelvic floor.
I love them so much. That's
Aren't
really
they so
hot.
great?
By the way, that's
It's
super
really
hot. That is so fucking hot.
So they were wooed to baking it by Amy. Amy basically called Maya and said, will you please be on this? And she was like, call a friend. And so Maya called Andy and basically like he said, I just followed the rule I followed in every SNL after party, which is you don't say no to Amy and Maya. They got me into all kinds of stuff.
That's basically what I imagined, that Amy was like, you're doing this. And he's like, okay. Yeah.
Maya says he has younger brother energy.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Totally get that.
And so apparently Maya's kids like to bake. She has a 16-year-old, a 12-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old. And he said that he made pancakes once with his kid and they baked them in the oven and they were not good.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do that in the oven.
Yeah.
It's not how pancakes are made, Andy. Even I know that. That's adorable.
So this like inspired them to try baking. They did say that they agreed that this serious moments were hard.
That was hard for them.
Yeah, aren't those cute? Aren't they adorable?
Oh, you know what? Can I add? Because I just ran across like a quote while I was like looking up other stuff. Apparently, when Andy and Maya were on SNL for that brief period that they were on the show together, they used to eat together. Like they would eat lunch. They would eat their lunch or their dinner together and just like gab.
Cute. I had no idea that because they were only on together for like a year or something.
I think it was like half a year. They've like had just a little bit of overlap, I think.
Okay.
But apparently they used to eat their meals together.
That's cute. Yeah. So they had an instant bond.
Oh man, that was really cute. That was some great trivia.
Oh, you look awesome. Come the fuck upstairs.
Okay.
But wait, I have to warn you about something.
What?
If you come up here, I'm gonna tie you to my bed and keep you for at least 3 days. I'm just in that kind of mood.
Would you want another season of Baking It?
Oh, yeah.
I know that they didn't like talking to people about their serious moments, but like I hope they would do it again. I would.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a thing I'd like to watch every year. Like I would enjoy just like a one-off Baking It every year, you know, like around Christmas time. That would be really fun. Okay. So are you ready to talk about what we're going to watch next year? Because
in 2022.
2022.
Sorry, what 22?
22. We're just going to go with 22. Also, we have another listener question, and I have a question for you. So we'll get to that in a second. Okay. But just to get into like, what are we watching next time? I'm not going to spin the wheel. It seems to me, and we didn't talk about this off air, so you are welcome to disagree with me. But it seems to me that the thing that makes the most sense is for us to begin season 3. Can you believe we've been doing this for 3 seasons, Sarah? That is fucking bonkers to me. You don't seem like shocked, but I'm shocked that we're already like in season 3 of the show.
Well, you're always shocked about us keeping up with podcasts, but I feel
I'm amazed that we do this. Like when we started The Feminine Mistake, I was like, I hope we keep this up for 6 months. And then we've been doing that show for 5 years, and here we are 3 years. Well, 2 years into doing this, which just boggles my mind. But it seemed like the right thing to do would be to finish Brooklyn Nine-Nine season 8. What do you think?
Yeah.
So that'll be our next thing that we do. So listeners, we're going to start off 22, as we're calling it. We're going to start it off with the last 2 episodes of season 8 of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is The Last Day Part 1 and The Last Day Part 2. So it's a 2-parter. The description of Last Day Part 1 is the squad takes stock of their 8 years together and looks towards their future. Last Day Part 2, the squad takes stock. Oh, That's the same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing
Just
twice.
part 2.
So it's a 2-parter, and so that's how we're gonna be starting off the year, is by saying goodbye to Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I know seems kind of weird, but it felt like we had to do Baking It. We just felt like we had to.
We
So
had to.
I'm sorry, guys, if we get to
we did.
prolonging the end of Brooklyn Nine-Nine season 8.
We could always do the end of Brooklyn Nine-Nine next week. I'm just kidding. Nicole's like, fuck. Just Christmas Eve,
just
no
like
problem.
Christmas Eve podcasting. That makes total sense. So that's what we'll be doing next, listeners. When you talk to us, and then I don't know, we'll do some Andy movie, Adam movie after that. I don't know what it'll be.
Girls.
Are you really ready to dig into Girls? Are you really already?
I don't know. We keep talking about it. I'm just like, I want to see Andy from like the not Adam. Andy, I'm so sorry. Adam from the beginning days.
Look, no one makes me hornier than Sackler, okay? Like, there's nothing hornier for me than that. And all right, I will contemplate it. Listeners, why don't you tell us?
How many films do we have left of his? Listeners,
lot.
Tell us, how many films do we have left?
We have a lot. Sarah, you want me to name some? Frances Ha.
Okay.
Silence.
Okay.
Midnight Special.
Okay.
Patterson, which is a big one.
Third Star Wars.
Well, Rise of Skywalker we'll be doing in December.
Yeah.
So that's just 5 off the top of my head.
Okay.
At his SNL appearances. There's some that he had like little bit parts in, but that's just off the top of my head, and I can't. I think those are the big ones, but I'm probably forgetting one. So listeners, feel free to correct me. Listeners, why don't you tell us? Maybe we'll do a poll on Twitter.
A whole year without doing, or maybe half a year without doing Girls.
We'll see. I am really eager to get into Girls. I think that we've already decided that we're not going to watch every episode of Girls. We're just going to watch the ones that Adam is in, right?
Is he not in every episode?
He's in most of them, but not all of them. Remember in season 2, he kind of disappears for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think in season 6, he kind of disappears for a little while. He's in most of the episodes, but to me, it seems like let's just follow Adam Sackler's story. I love Girls, and I do actually rewatch it frequently. I know that's a controversial opinion, that a lot of people either really like the show or they really hate the show or they only watch it for Adam. And however you feel about the show is totally valid, listeners. But I actually really like the show, and so I've rewatched it a couple of times, probably more than I would if it were not for Adam. Like, I probably rewatch it most because of Adam, but I do enjoy the other episodes as well. But it seems like if we're covering, rather than cover every episode, because there's a lot of them, it seems like maybe we should just follow Adam's arc, I think, is what we would do. Which is still a lot of episodes. Yeah. So, listeners, tweeted us at AdamAndyPod. Should we finish with Adam's filmography and then do Girls, or do you want us to start off with Girls and then maybe take a break and come back to it? What would you like? I'll put up a poll maybe, but also tweeted us maybe reply to this episode on Twitter and let us know if you think we should do Girls now or do it later. Let us know what you think. Okay, so a couple things. First of all, because last time and this was a bit inspired by a listener question, Aaron, one of our listeners, sent in a bunch of questions, which is awesome. We're not going to get to all of them because there's so many, and I like appreciate the time and care that she put into thinking of these questions. But I did modify one of her questions, and then there's one of her questions that I'm just straight up going to ask. But it's kind of in relation to what we talked about last week, which was we had 3 of Adam's films that we watched this year. And we ranked the performances, and we also ranked the thirst. So I thought we should do that with Andy as well. So I've just kind of randomly picked 3 things. 3 things where we liked the performance. I did it a little differently for each. So for 3 films, and we ranked the performance, here's your 3 films that you got to rank. Or TV shows. Cuckoo. So we've got Cuckoo. If you can remember it back that far. Cuckoo, Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. you can choose Brooklyn Nine-Nine season 8 or season 1. You can whatever. But rank it in number 1 is best performance. So what would you be your ranking between those 3? Cuckoo, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Popstar. Never Stop, Never Stopping.
I think Brooklyn Nine-Nine probably.
For number 1
for best performance.
Mm-hmm.
And then gosh, I forget Popstar Never Stopping.
So Connor for real, he's a pop star guy. He's got a turtle.
Yeah, I just can't. Like, I can see like what he looks like in it, but I don't remember.
So
his
maybe the
performance,
performance wasn't memorable to you.
It wasn't memorable. Cuckoo was okay. I think that Andy, I don't know. He never gives like performances the way that
I almost put
does.
Palm Springs in here, but I knew that it would be no contest. Like Palm Springs is my favorite Andy performance. Is maybe we could do that rather than the 3. Do you have like a top 3 performances that you can think? Like, I can name off some of the things we've watched. We watched Cuckoo, we watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, we watched Popstar, we watched the Bash Brothers. We watched that weird tennis documentary, Palm Springs.
I would definitely say Palm Springs is my favorite.
Top,
the best
for sure, and top for Thirst. Like, if I had to top for Thirst, top for performance. So of all the things we've ever watched, Palm Springs is the ultimate for me. Andy thing. And it would be my ultimate Thirst. Now for Thirst, if we take Palm Springs out of the running, so it goes Palm Springs for me. If we're talking about best performance, then Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because Jake is just a really endearing character and I really love him. And then gosh, after that I'd have to give it to Cuckoo, even with Bash Brothers. And I mean, if I'm bringing in Celeste and Jesse, which we didn't cover this year, we actually covered it last year. If I'm bringing in Celeste and Jesse, then it would probably be Palm Springs, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then Celeste and Jesse for me. Just because Jake has a lot of levels of comedy to him, and Celeste and Jesse is really great. But I don't know if those would be my top 3 performances. I think if I had to go rank his without Palm Springs, which obviously tops everything. I don't know. So for you, Palm Springs is number 1. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Do you have like maybe a third you can sandwich in there? A third memorable performance for you? Maybe.
I was about to say Girls, and I was like, he wasn't in that.
No, that's Adam.
I know. I just like
Cuckoo, Bash Brothers. Or would you?
I think all of his sketchy,
Lonely Island kind of stuff.
Lonely Island stuff is good, but it's all the same.
Yeah. Somebody's blown up your phone, girl.
Yeah, it's just so my phone. If I don't check my notification, it just keeps going off.
Jesus Christ. But Cuckoo, where I feel like Cuckoo was a good performance. Like, it stuck out to me as like Andy, but it wasn't. Andy was playing something different than what I've usually seen. Like, he was himself, but that character was unique amongst the other characters he's played to me. I also thought he was really funny and sexy, to be honest, as Cuckoo. And so even though we covered it a while ago, it stuck with me, honestly. That one stuck with me. I was really disappointed that we only got 1 season, but then the reason we only got 1 season is because we got Brooklyn Nine-Nine, so I can't be sad about that, What about Thirst? Obviously, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is at the top. Or sorry, Palm Springs is at the top.
Palm Springs, and then Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Baking It made me kind of thirsty, I'll be honest with
you. Baking It probably, I don't know. I don't really get thirsty very much.
During Baking It, or just generally?
Just generally.
I think Cuckoo, I think I was thirsty for Cuckoo, for sure. Connor for real didn't do it for me, even though I joked about it on the show. Yeah, I think it would have to be like Palm Springs at the top, maybe baking it. Baking it, I think, made me a little thirstier than Brooklyn Nine-Nine even. I think there's something about those sweaters. Those cozy sweaters and the dad jokes. And then maybe, I don't know, Cuckoo and Brooklyn Nine-Nine somewhere after that. Anyway, I just thought we should do that since we did it for Adam. It seemed fair. And people have asked us about it. All right. So the listener question from Aaron is, what are you most looking forward to next year, coming from Adam and Andy? Their projects next year.
I have
or
no
what
idea
would you like to see?
Up to.
I'm looking forward to 65, the science fiction movie with the dinosaurs. I'm looking forward to it.
Sure.
I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about it other than it's sci-fi and it's kind of an indie movie and he's playing like some kind of astronaut and there's dinosaurs. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
There's also White Noise. I'm sure we'll see next year. Jack Gladney. Are you curious? That's another Noah Baumbach joint. It's Greta Gerwig is playing his wife.
No.
I thought about maybe reading the book White Noise. Maybe we should do a book club, Sarah. If you read it, I'll read it.
Okay.
I feel like we should read it. This seems like a book we should read before we see the movie.
Okay.
So I think, but of those two things that I know Adam has coming out, I'm most looking forward to 65. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Just it's the dinosaurs for me.
And then Andy has Transylvania 4 coming out. He's got Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. So a lot of kids animated stuff, which is fine. I think that what am I most looking forward to from Andy? I'm actually gonna speculate. Is it okay if we speculate? Because I'm not like, it's not like I'm just not, I can't say that I'm looking forward to the kid shows as much. I think that's okay to say, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure they're fun. And I always enjoy, my kids watch that kind of stuff. Like they love Storks and that's a cute movie, but I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to speculate and say I would love to see either a surprise Lonely Island project drop, like a Bash Brothers. I'd like to see a surprise Lonely Island project, or I would like to see Andy developing. I don't know. Would you like to see Andy developing a new film or a TV series? Like, would you like to see something like Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Or what would you like?
Yeah, probably a new TV show. He's more of a TV,
you think,
like a sitcom type actor, as opposed to Adam is like totally like film guy.
Although again, Andy was fantastic in Palm Springs.
He was in Palm Springs. You're
right.
So
maybe more. You'd like to see him take something more like that.
Maybe 3 more films.
Andy, we need you to make 3 films next year and a surprise Lonely Island.
And then you'll get a Adam Douglas Driver Award of Excellence.
Well, no, then it would be the Andy Samberg Award for Excellence in Comedy and Film and Television.
Okay. But I just want him to win the Adam Award just because
it
would make sense.
And then we could double cover it because it would be extra relevant to our interest. Yes. And then we would see a press photo of
the two of them
Adam
together, or
handing Andy an award.
Andy holding a statue of Adam holding an Oscar.
That is insane. And I love it. Okay. So, Aaron, I hope that was satisfactory to you. We don't know. It's not that we're not excited about Andy's projects so much as they're not for our age range. So I think we're speculating on things we would see. I'd like to see Andy do another film project. I'd like to see him stretch himself in a role like that. Obviously, I'd be thrilled to see him in a TV series. He's a fantastic comedic actor, but I'd love to see him in another film role. And but something
Give us more Palm Springs stuff.
Something more like Palm Springs, where it's comedic, but like grounded, heartfelt and grounded. So I'm looking for that. From Andy. A surprise Lonely Island project and season 2 of Baking It. Give me season 2 of Baking It. I want it. So that's what I'd like to see from Andy and from Adam. Of the projects I know that he's doing, here's what I'll say about Adam. I'm looking forward to 65 the most. But also, if Adam would like to surprise announce that he's returning to the Star Wars universe as Ben Solo, like, I would spontaneously combust, like just in front of you, if that were to happen. So maybe he shouldn't, because then that would rip me. You know what I mean? R.I.P. me.
Die.
I hope that answer was satisfactory. So we're gonna wrap it up here. I did have one last thing to say, and that's that I wanted to thank Nikki and Lala from the Barely Hanging On podcast. Sarah, they gave us the sweetest shout out on their show. It was so sweet. It made me like tear up a little bit. And I just wanted to say congratulations to them, because they just finished their first season of their podcast. And I know how hard it is to like come up with content every week. They're like doing their show like every week or something. And they do all these fun polls, and they're just like really fun to engage with, and they make me laugh. And I just really love their show. And when they started the show, Nikki had like, I already knew of them from fan fiction, because as you know, guys, I'm obsessed with fan fiction, and I read it all the time. And so I had already known of them on Twitter, and Nikki had emailed me and was like, "Hey, I know you do a show where you watch Adam Driver movies, and we're thinking of doing this podcast, and is that okay with you?" And it was like the fucking Beatles were emailing me. I felt like the Beatles had emailed me, and I was like, "Am I okay with it? Are you kidding?" And I love them. I love what they bring to the fandom. And I just generally wanted to thank our listeners and the fandoms of Andy and Brooklyn Nine-Nine and of Adam for really like enriching my life. I enjoy engaging with you guys, and you bring so much happiness to me, and it feels really awesome to be connected with you all over something that we all enjoy. And we all know that it's very silly, but I think it also brings people together. And I'm like a lobster pie. I'm filled with warm lobster right now, and I just love everyone. So thanks.
So sweet.
Sarah, I also want to thank you for doing this nonsense with me for yet another year. I love talking with you about these movies. I love the excuse for us to get together and watch them. I'm sorry that I made you sit through some that you really hated. But I hope you also got to see some that you really loved. You're my best friend, and I love doing this with you. And
I love doing this with you too. You're my best friend too. Yeah.
I love you.
Aw, I love you too.
Listeners, that's going to be it for us for season 2. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Adam and Andy Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Adam Andy Pod. And you can watch the vidcast of the show on our channel, Critical Crop Top, on YouTube. It's been a fucking journey, and I'm excited to see what we do next year. I love you, Sarah.
Me too. I love you too.